Hi there. It's so nice to be here today. I'm so glad that you could join us. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to make a DIY flare kit. So what we can do to prepare for when a flare happens. Hopefully it won't happen, but we know from time to time our symptoms do get worse and we want to be prepared. So this presentation is going to help us to see what we can do. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Laura Jean. I live on an Arctic island. I'm a chronic tea drinker, love stickers. I'm a wife, mother, and a rheumatoid arthritis warrior. And I'm really passionate about wellness and helping others with arthritis to brighten their day and to make their day easier. So I have a blog, ralifehacks.com, and that's where I share simple solutions that can help to make our life with arthritis easier. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook at RA Life Hacks, and I have an Etsy shop where I create practical printables and fun stickers for those with chronic illness. So just before we get started, just a quick medical disclaimer. Obviously, this is just educational. This is not medical advice, and it's always best to speak with your medical professional to find out what the best protocol is for you individually in case of a flare. So this gives a quick overview of what we'll be looking at today, why it's good to have a flare kit, how to choose what to include in your kit, and then how to put it all together, where to store it and what you might store it in. And just because there's so much information, and I know sometimes, especially when I'm attending events, you don't want to miss anything and you're taking notes, maybe you're trying to do screenshots or something like that. To make it easier, I've created a page on my website. You won't find it in the menu. It's just specific for this event, but it's ralifehacks.com/flare kit. And there you will find the most important parts of the presentation today. So some of the products I mentioned, I won't go into a lot of detail. I just don't have time in our allotted time today, but there'll be more details about those products that I mentioned on this page. Some of them actually will have coupon codes. Some of them are exclusive to this event if you want to try the product out for yourself and get it at a discount. And that way you don't have to worry about missing anything. All the highlights will be on this page. So if you want to, take a screenshot of this or jot this note down, this page, but that'll be all you need to worry about remembering, and then you'll be able to have all the information at your fingertips. So first off, just to understand, in case there are any questions about what is a flare. So according to the Arthritis Foundation, a flare is a period of increased disease activity or worsening symptoms. So a time when medications you normally rely on to control your disease don't seem to work. So there's quite a wide range of a flare. You know, a flare can be just a little bit of increased pain and swelling, or it could be, you know, full on, you can't get out of bed. You might even need to go to the doctor or hospital. There's a wide range. What we're talking about today is mostly on this end where it's, you know, increased activity, but you can still maybe function a bit, or you don't need to leave home to be able to handle the flare. So these are just some things that you can do to look after yourself in case you don't need to go to a medical professional. So why have a flare kit? I like this quote from John Wooden that says, "Confidence comes from being prepared." Now, recently, quite a large area of North America had storm warnings. We had that ourselves here, and this is often what our storms look like. We'll have blizzards and we can get snowed in for a few days. We're told to have emergency kits to be able to prepare for these things. And it's the same kind of idea with a flare kit. It's just being prepared. It can reduce fear, frustration, anxiety. It's making sure you have available at your fingertips things that you need to cope, just to make it less overwhelming. And it's also a great way to be able to empower family members to be able to help you. When you have a kit assembled and they know where it is, they can go and get things to help you when you're in pain. And really it's, you know, we don't want to suffer any longer than we need to. So by having everything at our fingertips, hopefully it'll bring us relief sooner, and then we can move on. So one good thing to think about when a flare does happen, It's good to take a photo of it if it's something visible that you can see. Record date and details, and also potential triggers. This is really good information to be able to bring to your next appointment with your rheumatologist or family doctor or whoever you might be seeing. If you can't do it in the moment, try and remember to do it after the flare has passed, just to keep track, because sometimes you might be able to find patterns. So what is a flare kit? Basically, it's a kit that is composed of these 3 different areas. So pain management tools, something to help you cope with the pain, emotional support, things to help you cope with the emotional toll that a flare can take on us, and some resources. So things that can, information at your fingertips that can be useful in that situation. So how to choose what goes into a flare kit? We're going to look at 4 different factors to consider when you're purchasing pain management tools. And then we'll look at some ideas for pain management, for emotional support, and what some of those reminders might be. So when you're looking at factors to consider when purchasing pain management tools, for some people, if you're not on a tight budget and you don't have to worry too much about it, this might not be so important. Maybe you'll, have the ability to try several different things. But for a lot of people with chronic illness, we're on a limited budget and we really have to get the most value for our dollar. And so we want to be very selective in what we choose. So one thing to consider is versatility. So can the product be used for a variety of areas of your body, or is it specific to one joint? So there might be, maybe with your arthritis, you only have, 1 or 2 areas that are affected. And in that case, having a very specific product is probably a great idea for that. But for a lot of people, it might move around their body. There might be in their knee one day, their ankle the next day, or things like that. So having something versatile gives you a lot of value for the money that you spend. Also, durability. So if it's a single product used, you only use it once and then you get rid of it. Obviously, that's something you would need to continually repurchase. Is it high quality? Is it something that's going to last? Do you have to buy replacement parts or things like that continually to be able to maintain it? Those are also things to consider in how you spend your money. And ease of use. So is the product easy to use? Does it need a big setup? Do you have to, is it kind of messy, or can you use it on your own? One example might be, we have one of those handheld massagers. And for a lot of people, it's great. They find relief in, helping their muscles or stiffness, things like that. But for me, if I'm in a flare, I cannot hold on to that massager and do it myself. I need something, for example, I have a foot massager where I just put my feet into the item and I don't have to hold it other than pressing the button to start it. I don't have to do anything. So how easy is it? Can you use it in a flare? If you're, if you don't have a lot of mobility in your hands during a flare, is it something that you could use? And lastly, the effectiveness of it. So obviously we want to spend our money on something that is going to work. So sometimes it is a trial and error. What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. But we can look into, are there clinical studies that support that this product has good success? Or has it been recommended by someone that you know or trust? Has it been successful for you in the past? So all of those things to consider, and again, to make the most of the money that we spend. So now we're going to look at a few of these pain management ideas. So what you might include in your kit. Medication. So over-the-counter pain relief or a specific prescription from your doctor. For example, prednisone is often prescribed for a flare. So is that something that you can have on hand so that you are prepared in the event of that happening? Heat therapy, infrared heat therapy. A lot of people find heating pads comforting. You might not know, but infrared heat therapy actually penetrates 10 times deeper than a traditional heating pad. And so there's clinical studies to show the effectiveness of it. It can promote healing, reduce inflammation. This is my number one go-to for pretty much all things. I'll have more information about it on the page, but it's a great tool. It's very versatile. It can be used on a lot of basically any part of the body. You can, wrap it around your knee. You can put your feet on it. You can have it over your shoulder, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of uses for that. So red light therapy, it reduces inflammation, it speeds up healing, increases circulation, and improves skin conditions. Again, it's very easy to use. You just turn on the light and you're in front of it for 10 or 15 minutes. So it's very versatile. It can be used at basically any joint and easy to use. Topical pain cream or oil. So these are something that you would apply directly onto the skin, and it's easily absorbed, and it can bring temporary pain relief. And I prefer this roll-on one because I don't have to actually touch it. When you're rolling it on, then I don't have to touch it with my fingers. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I know I've put on pain cream before, then accidentally touched my eye. Even after washing my hands, sometimes it still, burns the eye. Whereas a roll-on, you don't have that direct contact with your hands. So I find that really helpful. Compression gloves. I like how Grace and Abel describes it as a hug for your hands. So that's the Grace and Abel gloves that are pictured here, and it can help to reduce pain and swelling as well. Coban tape, which is an elastic wrap that can be used on various parts. One of the things I like about it is that it is so versatile. So I have one of these at my office, and then that way you can see in the photo there, one day I was having a couple of fingers were giving me an issue and my wrist. Well, I just had one roll of Coban tape, but I was able to address all of those joints with the one product. Massage units. So this is a picture of the massage unit I mentioned earlier. It's something I use at the end of the workday. It does compression and a roller massage. It feels really good on the feet. There's also a TENS machine, like a Dr. Ho or something like that. It sends electrical impulses through the skin, and it can reduce the sensation of pain and can help with reducing inflammation. A paraffin bath, it's another form of heat therapy. You can increase blood flow, relax the muscles, decrease joint stiffness. Natural supplements, when used under the direction of a medical professional, and this is very important because supplements can interact with medications that you might be on. So you need to make sure that you are under the care of someone that is aware of everything that you're taking and any interactions. But some natural supplements can be great for reducing pain as well. Epsom salts, they contain magnesium, and it can help to reduce toxins, inflammation, swelling, stiffness, and pain. Some people might use it in a bath. Others might do a foot soak. That's what I often do with it. Again, very soothing, relaxing, and it can really help when you're in a flare. Ice pack, especially if you have a flare where the joint is red and inflamed, you don't want to add heat to that. You want to do the opposite. You want to cool it down. So ice is something that's good for that. Another thing I forgot to put a photo of here, but having a brace or support is really helpful too for joints. I know I have a few different braces for my wrist, and when I'm in a flare, just that extra support and protection, because even just bumping it really gently, if I'm in a flare, can cause quite a bit of pain. So having that support around it can really help. Now for emotional support ideas. So these are things to help you with the mental distress that can come with these flares. So things like inspirational quotes, something positive to keep you in the right mindset. A music playlist. So have this arranged ahead of time of happy, upbeat songs so that, if you're feeling the stress and the pain, you can just select your, say, a flare playlist, and you'll have all of this music to kind of keep your spirits up, because we all need that when we're going through that. A breathwork app. I use the one that helps it's called breath work, but there are several different apps that can help you with like guided breathing, deep breathing, things like that. And that can really help with mental stress, but it also has physical benefits as well and can help to reduce inflammation. A list of favorite movies, uplifting movies. This can engage the parasympathetic nervous system by watching feel-good movies, and especially comedy. Like it says, laughter is the best medicine. So try to be selective in what you watch. If you're trying to distract your mind and you're going to put on a show, don't do something that's going to scare you and have you tense and nervous, because that fight or flight mode will be activated. You want something that's going to calm you down. You're trying to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So you want something calming, happy, laughter, things like that. Same with choosing your books. Choose something, it's a way to kind of escape the pain if you can concentrate on reading enough to kind of distract your mind. But again, keep it something positive and uplifting, not something that's going to emotionally drain you. And a photo of your why. So have it clear in your mind why you're pushing through these hard days. Maybe it's a picture of your family. Maybe it's a specific life goal that you have, or a hope for the future, or something that motivates you not to give up. Have a photo of that somewhere, either on your phone or actually print it out and in your kit, to be able to focus on that to help with the mindset. And then for resources or reminders. So things like important phone numbers. So numbers you might need to call for medical assistance or your local pharmacy, numbers you might need to call for work or babysitters or anything like that, you want to have them all in one spot, easy to find, so that you're not looking around the house or trying to Google what these numbers are. A wardrobe reminder. So maybe you have some arthritis-friendly clothing that are easy to put on and that they don't require, like lots of buttons or zippers or things like that. Have a photo of that outfit in case you need that visual reminder of, this is something you can put on that's easy to put on. An easy meal list. So when you're in a flare, you want to eat. You don't want to neglect your nutritional needs. You still want to eat to fuel your body and to try and help with inflammation. So you're going to try and eat anti-inflammatory foods. You can possibly freeze meals ahead of time. There's the super cubes, which have individual sized portions that you can freeze meals in, have them in the freezer, then you just pop out that individual size for when you need it. Also having just a list of easy to make foods, because when you're in the moment of a flare, you might not be able to think clearly, or it just feels overwhelming and you might be inclined to go to the comfort foods. But that's not going to help you. You need something, healthy to fuel your body. So, you can have comfort foods, but try and have healthy ones. Sleep aids. So sometimes with pain, you might be having a hard time sleeping. So is there something that helps you to get to sleep? I know for myself, lavender is something that often works, the essential oil. There's also things like sleep patches, or, you might even have a prescribed sleep aid or something like that. If you do just need to rest and kind of sleep it off. A work plan. So is there a plan, an alternate work plan for you during a flare? Can you work from home? Is there a different procedure that you have to go through? Have that kind of all arranged and prepared ahead of time so that you know exactly how to deal with it. And a childcare plan. So depending on the age of your children, if you have little ones, maybe you need to call in, some help to be able to get through if you're not able to look after them. But if they're older and more independent, can you have a list of approved activities, approved snacks, approved movies, or whatever it might be, that you can give them and be like, okay, mommy needs to rest today, but here are some things you can do, and you can kind of keep an eye on them, and they don't need to come and be asking you so many things because they can already see what they're allowed to do. So that can help reduce some of the stress with that. And I kind of like to think of it as just like you would prepare for a blizzard or a storm, something like that. You're worried about food, clothing, and shelter. That's kind of the overall picture of what you're trying to do with your flare kit. So you want to make sure that you have food. So like we talked about, having the list, have a few different things with you to be able to make sure that you can prepare the meals if you don't have any frozen. So things like the Kitchen Mama can opener. It's a hands-free can opener. It's just basically one button, and then it can open a can of food for you. So maybe that's what you need. Or if you need help even holding on to the utensils, this pictured is the magnet cuff, which you don't need any grip for. You slide your hand right in. It uses a magnet to attach to the utensil, and then you can feed yourself that way. So having these items on hand, again, preparing ahead. Worst case scenario, hopefully you don't need to use those, but at least if you get in that moment, you can still look after your basic needs. Same with clothing. The shoes here that are pictured are the Kizik shoes. So they're hands-free shoes. You just put your foot in and they pop on. You don't have to worry about tying the laces or, using your finger to get the shoe on, things like that. The anchor gear, I think it's called the magnetic zippers, things like that can help you to get dressed without too much pain or suffering. And shelter, I kind of put that in brackets. Of course, at home is your shelter, but I was thinking more for like comfort and warmth. What are something that can help you? For me, it's the infrared heating pad. For you, it might be something different, but kind of those are the basics you want to cover with your flare kit. Make sure that you can provide all your basic needs. So putting it all together, how to store it and where to put it. So the flare kit, oh, my pictures aren't showing up here. There we go. The flare kit, you want it to have it to be easily identified, like clearly labeled, easy to access. You don't want it difficult to get to if it's like pushed away in the back of the closet and you have to dig through a bunch of things to get it. Well, if your hands are having a really bad flare day, you're not going to want to go digging through all of that. So have it somewhere easy. For me, most of my flares occur when I wake up in the morning. So I have a rolling cart beside my bed that has a lot of my flare kit on it. And I also have the shoe organizer that's hanging in my bedroom. And I have them labeled. So I have braces, I have pain creams, and I have some patches that I use for my immune system and for pain. Another option would be putting it in a storage box. Of course, if you have young children or pets, you want to be very careful about any medication. So those you might need to put in a separate location if they need to be locked up and stored away. But in general, most of the products will be safe to have around. So have it somewhere where you can easily get to it and also that your family can get to it. So say you're on the couch, you're not feeling good. Well, if you have everything in one spot, you can easily tell, your partner or your child, can you please go and get this item out of my kit? So it's something that they can feel empowered to help you with too. So there you have it. It's once again, this is the page where I'll have kind of the highlights and some coupon codes and things like that. Some different ideas for you to make your own flare kit. And if you want to stay in touch, this is the best places to find me at. So again, Instagram, Facebook at RA Life Hacks, on my blog, ralifehacks.com, and in my Etsy shop. And I really appreciate you being here today and being able to participate in this. And I'm happy to answer. We have a few minutes, so happy to answer any questions that you might have. And feel free to send me a DM or an email. And if there's anything I can help you with, or if you have questions with, I will do my best to help. Thanks so much. Have a great day.